The Wolves go to Catawba looking for a second wind and a second win. We have the highlights. Meet a member of the Newberry wrestling team who escaped from the Taliban. His story is coming up. And the Newberry basketball teams provided a preview of coming attractions. Our cameras were there. All this plus the latest news and scores on this edition of Wolves Weekly. From the Langford Center studios at Newberry College, this is Wolves Weekly. I'm Al Della Chica. At 5 games into the season, the Newberry football team had posted only one win, a 50-20 win over Tusculum. Even that win was followed by 2 blowout defeats by Mars Hill and Lenoir-Rhyne. On Saturday, the Wolves played the second of 2 consecutive road games against teams in North Carolina as they faced Catawba in its homecoming game. The Wolves had defeated Catawba in their previous 6 meetings, but nothing was certain. Newberry coach Todd Knight said he had been concerned about Catawba's strong offense, which took 96 snaps against Limestone the previous week. Those concerns were not misplaced as Catawba was ready for a fight. Paul C. Fisher has this report.
This week, the Wolves drove to Catawba. Both teams were coming off a conference loss and were desperate for a win. Newberry got the ball first, led again by starting quarterback Reed Sharpia. They were stopped short of a first down. When the Catawba Indians took the field, they were led by freshman Hunter Shepard. Running back LJ Turner exploded for a 43-yard rush before the offense set up a punt. The punt was blocked by Newberry's Jonah Norris and recovered by Jaden Kennard. Incomplete passes forced a punt. Shepard went 3 of 5 passing before the Indians also gave the ball back. The Wolves were then able to drive to the Catawba 15-yard line. This set up a 33-yard field goal for Bryce Early. The kick was no good and the score remained 0-0. For the majority of the second quarter, both teams struggled to drive. That was until a muffed punt by Mike Geeter put the Wolves deep in Catawba territory. The punt was recovered by Newberry's Jaden Kennard, and this helped set up a 1-yard touchdown by Quez Spells. With a minute and a half left in the second quarter, Catawba missed a 28-yard field goal. At halftime, the Wolves led 6-0. The Catawba Indians took the field the second half. They were unable to convert. Dwayne Wright then got the ball 3 times in a row and gained 33 yards and a touchdown. The extra point was good and the Wolves led 13-0. On Catawba's next possession, Shepard helped set up a 37-yard field goal. This was Bryson Sims' second miss of the day. With 3 minutes left in the quarter, LJ Turner broke free for a 75-yard score. The extra point helped put the Indians on the board 13-7 heading into the fourth quarter. Opening the quarter, the Wolves attempted a fake field goal. Burke Nettles' pass was intercepted and returned 89 yards for a touchdown. The extra point gave Catawba the 14-13 lead. 2 plays later, Reed Sharpia also threw an interception. The Indians converted and scored on a 3-yard rush. The Wolves then took 10 plays to drive 75 yards. Sharpia connected with Rico Dorsey for a 14-yard score. They attempted a 2-point conversion, but it was no good. The score was 21-19, and the Wolves were trailing. Newberry got the ball back with 4 minutes left in the game. With great composure, they drove to the Catawba 18-yard line. Quez Spells took it up the middle for the score. The 2-point conversion was complete to defensive end Colby Taylor. This gave Newberry the 27-21 lead. An interception by Jalen Stratford sealed the game. The Wolves will host Barton as they continue on the road of conference play. Paul C. Fisher, NCTV.
And the Wolves get their second win of the season in a thriller at Catawba. Quarterback Reed Sharpia was back from an injury and had 18 completions for 28 attempts for 191 yards with a touchdown, and led the drives that resulted in the 14 points the Wolves scored in the final 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. The Newberry defense held Catawba to 46 yards passing and only 50 snaps. Coach Todd Knight said after the game that although the game was going downhill quickly, the Wolves came storming back. He added, quote, "We will take a road win in this league anytime." The Wolves' next game will be Saturday at Sessler Field against the Barton College Bulldogs. And you know, as we analyze this game, one thing that we had been talking about is how the offense couldn't move that ball. They had been moving the ball pretty well over all the previous games, but the problem came when they got into the red zone. They just could not turn that primarily into touchdowns. We had already talked about a lot of the field goals. Well, this time the field goal kicking game was a little bit of a problem. They missed one, and then the second attempt later on in the game ended up in one of those pick sixes for a touchdown that kind of got Catawba back in the game. But this time the Wolves were 4 of 6 in the red zone, and all 4 of those were touchdowns, exactly what they needed. And we'll have a preview of next Saturday's game against Barton for you later in the program. Wolves Weekly will continue in a moment.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
One scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
When the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
I'm relying on luck, but who knows if it'll be on my side.
When it comes to disasters and emergencies, it's not a matter of if, but when. Take control. 1. Assess your needs. 2. Make a plan. 3. Engage your support network. Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell.
Welcome back to Wolves Weekly. I'm Paul C. Fisher, and today we want to bring you yet another different perspective. Alongside me today is Sullivan Hooper, who is not only a producer on this segment of Wolves Weekly, but is also a member of the men's golf team.
I'm going to talk to you kind of about the different perspective and his experience here. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, man.
Great to have you on. We're excited about this.
Yeah.
Kind of just start with, paint a picture for us of kind of what your experience has been like here at Newberry, both as a student athlete, but then also working here on this segment.
Yeah, so I came here last year and I was looking for what my major wanted to be. I met with Professor Al De La Chica. He introduced me to the sports communications program and I got signed up for it, and ever since then I've loved it. I am an athlete here. We have a pretty heavy schedule, but I'm able to mix it in with the sports communication stuff and the Wolves Weekly, and it's worked out well.
Okay, I gotcha. How do you think being an athlete here has also helped you kind of either get stories or kind of have the scoop or in any way with the Wolves Weekly show?
Yeah, well, being an athlete means I know a lot of the athletes, so I kind of have the inside scoop on some of the things, whether that's my teammates or just like I said, knowing other people. And being an athlete, I know a lot about sports, so I feel like that helps me a lot in finding stories or thinking about ideas when we talk during the week about ideas and pitches for the week. So being an athlete kind of gives me a little bit of an advantage, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I see. Previously and before kind of being here in this communications program, how much experience did you have in any broadcast, in any sports communication, things like that?
Yeah, kind of similar to Caleb last week. I mean, I had no experience. I mean, if you would have told me a couple of years ago that I was going to be a sports communication major and working for like something like Wolves Weekly, I mean, I would have laughed. I would have no idea, but I've kind of always wanted to be in broadcasting, but I never knew I'd get this type of experience while in college. So it's been a really nice surprise, and I'm thankful for it.
What do you think that says about Newberry or Newberry's communication program?
It says they really care about the students, and they want to give them hand-on experience right now in college before you graduate. So, I mean, we're well prepared while we're in school before we go off into the real world.
Yeah, I gotcha. And is this your senior year?
It is, yeah.
So with this being your senior year and you kind of gearing up for the workforce after this, how do you think your experiences with this segment have helped or have correlated?
Well, I've learned so much more than I can ever imagine that I would while in school. I mean, I think once I graduate, I'm going to have just a really good grasp of what is required of me if I decide to use my major and work for some media company or anything like that. I have a really good idea of what is expected of me, and I feel like I'll be able to handle it much better now that I've been a part of Wolves Weekly.
So you definitely feel you're more prepared than you would have been, right?
Of course, yeah. I would invite anyone who's interested in getting into sports communications to come on board with us and try out Wolves Weekly, because you're going to get the experience you need.
That's incredible. If they wanted to, though, how would students be able to come and join the show and kind of give a hand and be able to help out?
Well, if they want, they can come talk to me. They can talk to Dr. Jody Peeler or Al De La Chica or anyone part of Wolves Weekly. And we had a kid recently who was interested, and he just started showing up to our classes, and he's not even enrolled yet, but I think he's something, he wants to be a part of it, and he's been able to do that.
That's truly incredible, and it shows that really no matter where you are in your journey or in your career, there's a spot for you here in Wolves Weekly, and you can come help out, and it'll help build your resume. So I'm really excited to hear that. Guys, we just heard from Sullivan Hooper, who is not only a producer here on the show, but is also a student athlete at Newberry. And we just got to gain a whole different perspective on what it takes to be a part of this program and how you could also be a part of this program. Wolves Weekly will return in just a moment.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
NCTV, Newberry.
Every one of the 1,400 students at Newberry College has a story about the circumstances that brought them here. Some students grew up near Newberry or had family connections that brought them here. Others came here from other states or from other countries. However, one student's arrival at Newberry happened because his family was fleeing the Taliban. Producers Cornelia Rutkowska and Alexa Gambarino have the story of wrestler Bashir Rostami and his escape.
You do not know the real story until you dig in and discover all the sacrifices athletes put into their sport. In line with the sport he has passionately pursued since his youth, Bashir Rostami's wrestling career has been a challenging journey marred by takedowns, gut wrenches, and a single dangerous escape. Rostami has more than talent for his sport. He has a story to tell of his journey after he and his family escaped the Taliban and continue with his wrestling career at Newberry College.
So I'm from Afghanistan and I came here with my family. There are 8 of us, and we left Afghanistan because of the Taliban. And when I moved here, it was me, my 2 sisters, and my 3 brothers, and my mom. And my dad passed away before we moved here. And my older brother, he's in Australia, Utrecht. He been there like around 10 years. I really enjoyed the tourism with them, and then having lunch, dinner together, and hang out after practice with them, and doing my homework, and they're really helping me, and I'm glad that I'm here with this such as team.
Like in Bashir's case, that was a unique situation where it was, I don't know what they call it there, but like here we have like regions and then lower state or upper state and then the state tournament. So he was in like districts or whatever regions, something that was a state qualifying tournament. And he got disqualified after a little back and forth that the other wrestler, his coach reached out to me and said, this kid's not going to be on anybody's radar because he won't even be at the state tournament. He got disqualified, and so you have to miss like 2 events, which put him not being able to compete at state. But he said, my kid was the instigator, my kid was the problem. This kid shouldn't have got DQ'd, but he's the best kid in Florida right now, and he's not going to be at the state tournament, so everybody's going to, overlook him. And that coach actually was the one who put Bashir on our radar, and I reached out to Bashir's head coach, and that's kind of how that got started. So.
And the coaches and my teammates and my friends, they're all supporting me. And also, that's why I'm trying hard, because of my family. I'm the last hope of my family. So there's no way to live like more comfortable and having a own house, and having our own car. So I'm trying to get them all, and I want to live like normal American people.
He's a very good wrestler. He's fun to watch. He's primarily, coached in a different style and also from a different region of the world. So the things he does are just not the things that you see normally from our guys. So the style difference in when I say style, I don't mean the style of wrestling. I mean his style. Just the way he wrestles is just not super common. So it's fun to watch how that matches up with some of our other guys. Like he'll be doing some stuff, they'll think they've got him, and then he's doing something that we've never seen before, and it's like, that's why he's here.
I miss the cultures, and I miss my home, and I miss my people, but I don't feel alone here because I have my teammates, I have you guys, and I have the coaches, and I really love you guys.
Rostami's wrestling career continues growing and developing at Newberry College. With the support of his coaches and teammates, Rostami has a promising and brilliant future as a wrestler. Even though this year he is a redshirt, He always gives 100% of himself during practices because he knows that this is his only way to achieve his dreams and to create a better life for his family.
The Wolves wrestling schedule begins October 25th at the Smith Road Complex with the Scarlet versus Gray match before the team heads to Blacksburg, Virginia to face Virginia Tech on November 2nd. Wolves Weekly will continue in a moment.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to Wolves Weekly. I'm Al Della Chica along with Paul Fisher once again. And now let's get you caught up on what else is happening in Newberry athletics. In women's soccer, last week at the Smith Road Complex, the Wolves ended up in a 1-1 tie against the Coker Cobras, and then followed that up with one of the biggest victories of the year, a 9-0 shutout of Allen University in Columbia on Friday. With the win, the Wolves are now 6-4-2 on the season. Now over on the men's side, the Wolves ended up losing their match against Coker 3-0, but pitched a shutout themselves on Saturday against Wingate, winning that match 1-0. The men now stand at 3-6-1 for the season.
In field hockey, the Wolves won a pair of games as they hit the road on Tennessee. On Friday, they defeated Maryville 3-0, and then on Saturday, they kept the streak alive, defeating Lincoln Memorial University 1-0. The Wolves, who are still in second place in the South Atlantic Conference behind Wingate, sit at 10-2 overall and 6-2 in the conference.
In volleyball, the Wolves were also in Tennessee on Friday, where they dropped a 3-1 decision to Lincoln Memorial. They then traveled to Virginia to take on UVA Wise, where they lost 3-0. The Wolves now sit at 4-9 overall and 1-5 in the conference.
And the men's and women's tennis teams played Converse University over the weekend. The women came out on top with a 7-0 sweep, while the men dropped their match 6-1.
And with the Newberry basketball season just around the corner, the teams hosted an event to introduce their new coaches and show off the Wolves' on-court skills. Paul C. Fisher has this report.
The Newberry Wolves basketball program held the Moonlight Madness event. Fans of all ages packed out the stands. The event was a showcase of the broad variety of skills and an introduction to the 2024-2025 men's and women's basketball teams. There was a huge welcome for newly hired head coach of the women's team, Jeanette Walker, and newly hired men's head coach, Marcus Kirkland. Both teams competed in a three-point shooting contest, and then a men's dunking contest, before finally showcasing it all in a scrimmage amongst themselves. To the players, this night was a lot more than just a scrimmage.
No, it's huge for us as the guys, the team, because obviously we have a new coach. He's been great. Coach Kirk's been great ever since he stepped in the office, but it's great for the community to meet Coach Kirk and the new team. We got a lot of new guys, and we should be really good this year.
I think it's like pretty cool just to like bring everybody together, you know, like sports is like a really fun environment. So just like to bring everybody together, get to meet, you know, the new players, just like the returners as well, and it just like hypes up the, you know, the year to come.
When asked how to best support the Newberry basketball program,
just consistently showing up every game. I mean, we're gonna give it all. We might not win every single game, but it's gonna be a fun. We play fun, so it's gonna be a good time. So just show up and support the team.
I would say honestly more of these events are pretty cool. Like I think more of these events like sporting, even like bringing students into playing a different sport would be pretty cool, just to see, you know, how fun it is, just like trying out someone else's sport and just like hyping up everybody else.
View their full season schedule at newberrywolves.com. Paul C. Fisher, NCTV.
And this week's South Carolina Army National Guard Players of the Week are sophomore field hockey player Parker Keeler and sophomore triathlete Kaylin Giel. Keeler scored a pair of goals in the Wolves' defeat of Coker and helped in the win over Lander in Greenwood. Giel was the Wolves' top finisher at the college's Triathlon Coaches Association East Regional Qualifier in Wake Forest, North Carolina, finishing 22nd overall. You can find more about the Players of the Week and all of the latest development in Newberry sports at newberrywolves.com.
And next weekend, the Wolves football team welcomes the Barton College Bulldogs to Setzler Field. The Wolves have fared well against the Bulldogs in their previous 4 matchups, winning 3 of them. Although Barton got their lone win last season, they're looking for a comeback against the Wolves. And, you know, Paul, one of the things about this game is, you know, we both have 2 wins on the season. They're kind of hungry. We're kind of hungry. But the main thing is, though, I think hopefully we're starting to see a little bit of the light. You know, we had mentioned last time, Wolves are moving the ball, but they just weren't scoring in the red zone. Well, against Catawba, guess what? 4 of 6 in the red zone. So that's good news. Hopefully they'll keep that going against Barton.
What that shows is, though, it is doable. They just needed to figure it out. They just needed to have it all come together. When you post 50 points against somebody like Tusculum, that shows that you can see the end zone and then you can score. They really needed to figure it out, and I think they did that this week. And I'm really hoping they just keep that momentum and roll it into against Barton.
Yeah, I was good to see Reed Sharpie as quarterback. If he stays there, maybe that offense will get going pretty well. And game time for that one is 4 p.m. on Saturday at Setzler Field. And as always, Jimmy Coggins and I will have the play-by-play for you right here on Flow Sports.
And that's all for this edition of Wolves Weekly. I'm Paul C. Fisher.
And I'm Al Della Chica. Join us next time for more Wolves Weekly.
Keep up to date on the latest in Newberry College athletics with Wolves Weekly, available on Flow Sports and produced by NCTV Newberry.